And we're back, everybody. Welcome. It's Wednesday evening, November 3rd. I got both sections, and we're in lecture 2 of 3 for tonight. This one's all about blood. We know where we're at. We know where we're at in the calendar. Figure out the functions of blood. Okay, we'll do that. We will do that. Analyze the 3 main blood components. We will do that as well. And we're going to focus on the cells that you find in blood. Those are our 3 objectives. Let's get it going. Oh, I couldn't help myself. When we talk about blood, think about vampires. Even this one. Wow, lol. I don't know, just a little joke. Let's keep it. I just realized I just found something. Let me know in the chat right now. Let me know in the chat right now. Did you ever see that this guy has a goatee? What the hell? You noticed that? I've never seen that before. I swear to God, I'm just noticing that right now. Ugh, it looks weird. It looks really weird. Doesn't it? I don't know. This looks really odd. I think I'm going to take it out. I think I'm going to take it out of my presentation. Let's go. Blood. The life-sustaining transport vehicle. Okay, sure. Remember, blood is classified as a connective tissue. In our big scheme of tissues, it's classified as a connective tissue. It's the only one that's fluid. The Mandela effect. I know about that, Tony. I know about that. What is the matrix of this connective tissue? Because remember, all connective tissues exist within a matrix. Well, the matrix of blood is the plasma. Okay. And the living cells are all mixed in, and we call those the formed elements. We'll get to this. We'll get to this. Okay. So basically, blood is a connective tissue because there are cells living inside of a matrix. There are cells, a lot of them, that live inside of the non-living matrix. In this case, it's plasma. I'll leave that up for a second. I will leave that up for a second. Okay, we're off to a nice slow start. Our second lecture of 3. Let's keep going. Now, more about blood. Blood is sticky, it's opaque, and it has a little bit of a metallic taste to it. Okay. Blood can vary in its redness. When you have highly oxygenated blood, it's a scarlet red, a bright red. When you have low oxygen blood, it's not actually blue. It just becomes a darker red. Let's time to bust a myth. Remember, all the lies. It's all lies. It's all lies. I was told that the blood in my body is blue until it hits the air, and then it changes to red. Remember hearing that shit when you were a kid? Did you know that your blood is blue? And then when it touches oxygen, it becomes red? Bullshit. It's all red. It's all red. Why does it look blue in my veins then, Professor Madden? Huh? Why does it look blue in my veins? It's because your skin, your skin kind of blocks or filters out the red wavelength of light. So it appears blue. Not keratin. It's like the deeper you go in the ocean, you lose color, right? Anybody out there snorkel or scuba dive? Marlene, you know that the deeper you go, the fish and blue becomes the last color, which is why water looks blue. So the deeper you go, the wavelengths of light start getting filtered out. I actually lied about that. Did you really? Oh my God. Marlene! Oh my God, we're going to talk about that. Oh my God. All right. So, yeah, here I am. I'm trying to believe in female empowerment, that my students is scuba diving around the world and exploring things and whatnot, and you're just a bunch of liars. Adriana says, I scuba. Great. Excellent. We lie too. Okay, let's keep going. Let's focus. Boy, I so badly want to beef up my YouTube channel with nothing but anatomy lies. I really want to do it. I feel like I'm on to something here. Like, diaries down. Maybe it'll be like a winter project. We'll figure it out. Do it, says Christian. All right. Make a TikTok. We talked about this, Isabel. We talked about this. I don't know how I feel about TikTok. Whatever. Let's keep going. Next thing you're going to have me dancing all over the place. Blood has a pH between 7.35 and 7.45. All right. It represents about 8% of your body weight. And males and females have different volumes. There you go. Males tend to be a little bit bigger than females. And so we have a little bit more blood in our system. Okay, good slide. A good introductory slide. Okay. So this slide, along with the last slide, just good introductory slides. Lots of info. Let's keep going. Okay, the functions of blood. Oh my God. Who is this guy? Let me know in the chat. Can you identify this character? Who is this guy? The homie. What? Who is he? Oh my God, Count Chocula. Isn't it sad how many like corporate fucking mascotas, how many corporate mascots we can recognize like just on site, how completely corporate our lives have become. We see this guy and right away we're like, oh yeah, it's the Count Chocula. Oh my God. I don't even know how I know that. Oh my God. Okay. But here's the question. Here's the real question. Here's the question. Let's take 20 seconds in the chat. What are some of the functions of blood? How many functions of blood can you name? 20 seconds begins right now. All right, what do we got? Functions of blood. Ooh, look at this. A lot of transport. Sure. Regulation. Oh, okay. Carries oxygen to the body, transports nutrients. Very good. Body temperature regulation. Excellent. Moving around nutrients. Way to go, everybody. All right, let's take a look at our list. Transport. What's it transporting? Oh, way to go, Dana. Oxygen, nutrients. It transports wastes to the lungs. What waste can be transported to the lungs? How about carbon dioxide? Ah. What wastes can blood transport to the kidneys? Well, how about urea, which will eventually become urine, like nitrogenous wastes, okay? Oh, okay, so we got oxygen, we got nutrients, we got waste, like carbon dioxide. What else? Hormones. All of our hormones travel in the blood. Way to go, Dana. Immune cells travel through the blood. I'll leave that up. Okay. Good list. All right, let's keep going. Regulation of temperature. Your blood can help regulate your body temperature by absorbing and distributing heat. Take a look at this rabbit, for example. Take a look at this rabbit. The sunlight is beating down on these huge solar panels of ears that it has. Look at the blood flowing through these blood vessels. That blood will absorb that heat and send it into the body to help keep this rabbit warm. Okay, we do this too, by the way. Blood can also regulate your pH. and it participates in your fluid and electrolyte balance. Okay, I'll leave that up for a second. Good slide. What does blood regulate? Another good slide. Temperature, pH, fluid. Okay. And by the way, this temperature regulation, like you see this rabbit doing right here, you may not even realize it, but you do it as well. Simple activities, such as, like, if you're hot, you throw a leg out from underneath the covers so that the cool air will cool your blood down, right? It'll cool up your skin, it'll cool up your blood. So you do this. Next time you roll up your sleeves, or next time you put on a hat to stay warm, tell the person that you're hanging out with, guess what I'm doing? I'm thermo-regulating. I'm regulating my temperature. Be a nerd. Talk like a nerd. Okay, let's keep going. Protection, another function of blood. Blood clots to prevent loss of more blood. Okay. Proteins and platelets start the whole clot. So this is very much a related point right here. Blood clots can prevent infection because they block entry of bad things. They block the entry of bacteria, viruses, stuff like that. Your blood carries antibodies. All right. And your blood carries white blood cells, which also fight invaders. Okay. I'll leave that up for a second. So if we wanted to recap some of those slides we just saw, we talked about transport, we talked about regulation, we talked about protection. And each one of these had its subcategories: transporting of oxygen, nutrients, waste, hormones, regulation of temperature, pH, protecting us using clots, antibodies, white blood cells, boom, boom. Like I say to you, friends, make mental maps of this stuff, right? Make mental maps. Transportation, regulation, protection, and then all the subheadings, all the sub-bullets. All right, let's keep going. Now, let's talk about the components of blood. Let me know in the chat right now, does anybody here work at a lab or has worked in a lab and has drawn blood from a patient? Let me know in the chat. Antoinette says yes. Marlene says used to. Okay. Anybody else? A lot of my students usually have experience doing this stuff. Phlebotomy. Just two? Okay. Nope, but I donated blood. All right, all right. So you take blood out. Oh, analyze blood. Excellent. You withdraw the blood and you place it in a test tube. Then you spin it around really fast. You centrifuge the blood sample. You put it in a centrifuge machine and it spins it around. And what that spinning does is it creates zones. The heavy stuff sinks to the bottom. Way to go, Larry. The light stuff drifts up to the top. Okay. And you can separate the components of blood based on density. And that's how we can study the components of blood. Yeah, we spin it around really fast. Now, when it comes to the cells inside of blood, only the white blood cells are complete cells, meaning they have all their organelles, okay? They have all those metabolic functions. You'll see when we start analyzing the blood, we're going to find a lot of like incomplete cells that are lacking stuff. Okay, we're going to find a lot of those. For example, red blood cells have no nucleus. In fact, they have no organelles at all. Incomplete cells. They've been stripped of all that stuff. Okay? Even platelets that perform blood clotting are just chunks of broken off cells. They're just cell fragments. They're chunks of a bigger cell. They've broken off. We'll get to it. Most cells in blood start in bone marrow. But after they've reached maturity, they do not divide. Most cells in blood are amitotic. They are without mitosis. Whew, we're just getting started, friends. We're just getting started. We're off to a good start, though. All right, check in on the chat. How's everybody doing? Quick check-in. Give me a yes, a no, or something. Give me something. Does your head still hurt? Good. All right, way to go, Alex. Way to go, Don. Way to go, Haley, Tasnuva. Yeah. Let's keep going then. I want to start with the bottom of the test tube. I want to start with the erythrocytes. I want to start at the bottom, the most dense component. Let's go. Ooh, we start at the bottom. And here's what the histology will look like Drake. Oh man, I think I screwed that up. I take that back, everybody. Wrong. We're not going to start here. Oops. Sorry. I got to fix this slide. Sorry. We're actually going to use this as our map screen. Sorry for that. False alarm. But this is going to be our map screen. And we're actually going to start with the plasma. I take that back. Sorry. Sorry, as the people say, right? Sorry. But anyway, let's keep going. Wasted a line of my paper. Start the plasma. What is blood plasma? What is blood? You know, for the longest time, here's me being honest. For the longest time, I didn't understand the difference between donating blood versus donating plasma. I was like, what the fuck is the difference, right? What's the difference? Well, let's find out. What is the difference? Let's find out. Plasma, you can separate plasma from the rest of the blood. And obviously, doesn't the blood go through some filter to take out the plasma? I don't know. I've never given blood. Can you believe that, Gabe? But I just know there's a huge difference between what they actually are. Yes, Larry. Yes. Thanks, Larry. Way to go, Larry. Plasma is mostly water. Or as you folks like to say, water. Because you guys say your ERs. Oh yeah, plasma pays. Woof. Okay. Most of plasma is water. What's the rest of it? A lot of dissolved substances. Such as nutrients from what you've eaten, gases from what you've breathed in, hormones from your endocrine glands, waste products, proteins, ions. Okay. Plasma's got a lot of stuff in it. It's mostly water, but the other 10% is pretty packed. Proteins are the most abundant substance in plasma. And plasma really carries other molecules. Here's like the function of plasma. Okay, this last bullet right here is the function of plasma. Let me go back for a second. Put that back up on the screen. Let me let that sit for a second. Okay, so here's what plasma is. All right. Notice what is not listed here. Okay, plasma, when you spin the sample, it does not contain the cells. There are no cells in the plasma. They've been pushed down to the bottom. Okay, you separated the layers. Oh my goodness, talk about the composition of plasma. Look at some of these electrolytes. Look at some of these electrolytes like sodium, potassium, calcium, oh my God, so many electrolytes. You do not have to memorize this list. Here's a list of the proteins. Albumin, the most prominent protein. Okay, all these other proteins. Fibrinogen contributes to clotting. Okay, so electrolytes, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. Okay. Even more stuff. What kind of nutrients are found in plasma? Well, how about glucose, blood sugar, amino acids, cholesterol, vitamins, gases that we breathe in, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones. Okay. Don't have to memorize this stuff. I'm just giving you the menu, just giving you the whole menu. Okay, there's plasma. Plasma done. Mostly water, but lots of other ingredients on the menu. Now let's go down to the erythrocytes. Let's go down to this layer down here. Erythrocytes, aka red blood cells. They're very small in diameter. They have no nucleus. They are without a nucleus. They have no organelles. They've been hollowed out. Why are these cells so specialized? Well, they become filled with a protein called hemoglobin, so they can specialize. These cells are super specialized. And let me ask a question in the chat, because the chat's been quiet for a little bit. What is hemoglobin specialized to carry? What is this hemoglobin going to carry? 0-second delay. Oxygen. Yeah, now it's your question. Oxygen, 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 oxygen. Now, a red blood cell does have a plasma membrane. Okay. And there is a protein found inside of a red blood cell called spectrin. And it allows a red blood cell to have this kind of donut-esque shape and be flexible to be able to squeeze through capillaries. The shape and the bendability, the shape and the flexibility of a red blood cell allows it to travel through some of the thinnest vessels, capillaries. I'll go back for a second. All right. Okay, good beginner slide. All about that red blood cell, all of the features, a good description of the red blood cell. Okay, red blood cells also represent a great opportunity to talk about structure and function and how they complement each other. Let's talk about it. There are 3 things about red blood cells that make them awesome at transporting gas. 3 things that make them really good at this job. Number 1, their shape. This biconcave shape means that there's lots of surface area. They're not huge fat cells. They have a big thin area. And this means gases can very easily diffuse across their surfaces. That's number 1. Number 2, they have hemoglobin, which is really packed in there, really packed in. occupies most of the cells inside. Hemoglobin binds to oxygen. So it's a good thing your red blood cells have tons of it. And number 3, a third feature of red blood cells that make them really good at transporting oxygen, no mitochondria. Let's do a 20-second delay. What would happen to the oxygen content of a red blood cell if there were mitochondria present? What would happen to the oxygen if mitochondria were present? 20-second delay begins right now. Okay, what do we think? What are mitochondria going to do? They're going to hog it all up. That's right. Oxygen will be depleted because mitochondria are the powerhouse. They would hog all the oxygen. Get out of here. No, we don't need oxygen being sucked up by mitochondria. We want to deliver oxygen to the body. So no, we don't want mitochondria. Okay, let's move on. Hemoglobin. Let's zoom in on this molecule called hemoglobin. Let's zoom in on this protein called hemoglobin. Ugh! It looks like wacky, waveable, inflatable, arm flailing tube man, right? It looks like one of those wacky, waveable, flailing, inflatable arm tube man all twisted up. But let's talk about hemoglobin. There are 4 polypeptide chains all twisted around each other. The heme part is this iron molecule living inside of the twisty globin. So the chains are the globin. The discs are the heme. And each of these heme discs can bind 1 molecule of oxygen. Ta-da, right there. Ta-da, right there. Now, 1 hemoglobin molecule can carry 4 oxygens. Not 1 blood cell, just 1 little hemoglobin molecule inside of a blood cell can carry 4. A typical red blood cell will have 250 million hemoglobin molecules inside of it. Whoa. So if we do a little bit of quick math, 250 million times 4 oxygen molecules, well, that means each red blood cell can carry 1 billion oxygen molecules. Wow. Let me know in the chat. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. Does that make sense? 1 red blood cell is packed with so much hemoglobin that it can carry 1 billion oxygens. Wow. Okay, let's move on. Hematopoiesis. Oh boy, let's break down the word. Oh, erythropoiesis, excuse me. Red blood cell generation. Red blood cell making. Where does red blood cell making occur? In the bone marrow. Now, when you're an adult, like I am sometimes, your red blood cell making takes place in your axial skeleton and your girdles and the proximal epiphyses of the humerus and the femur. Wow, what specific sites, right? That's so specific. That is so specific. When you're a baby, it's in much more widespread areas, by the way. Now, the stem cells are the origins of all the cells inside of blood, hematopoietic stem cells. And here we have a picture of that right here. It's not become specialized yet. It is the origin story of all the cells in our blood. It's the beginning of all the cells in our blood. This stem cell. Obviously, it's going to undergo some changes. It looks nothing like a red blood cell yet. So let's see what happens. This is a little bit of physio, so we're going to leave it to physiology class. But hormones and growth factors in your body will push the cell towards a specific path. And the path that we show up here is the path to develop into a red blood cell. All right? And there you have it. Notice that there are certain steps where I think this is so fascinating. There are certain steps in this process as the cell develops where hemoglobin starts building up and crowding out the rest of the organelles. The cell gets sick and tired of trying to make space for everything, so it gets rid of its nucleus. The cell collapses under its own weight and takes on its red blood cell shape. Wow. Okay. Once a stem cell decides to go on this path, there's no going back. Okay. So once a cell is committed to becoming a red blood cell, that's its destiny. Okay. Whew. While people are absorbing that, let me know in the chat. Let's take a moment to relax for a second. Do you believe in destiny? Let me know in the chat. Do you believe in destiny? These red blood cells have a destiny. No. Oh, a lot of people saying yes. Kaliani says no. Interesting. She says excuse me. Okay, destiny. Interesting. We're not going to get into it too much, but stem cells make me think otherwise. Oh, Josh is having an existential crisis, everybody. Well, we're there for you, Josh. We're there for you. Okay. Oh, wait, what just happened? Okay, yeah, I highlighted this because I like to point out some of the highlights. And some of the highlights are the buildup of hemoglobin, the ejection of the nucleus. Those are some of the highlights, in my opinion. Let's keep going. How long does it take for a stem cell to get to a red blood cell? 15 days. Okay. If you are not making enough red blood cells, or if you have a shortage for some reason of red blood cells, you can get tissue hypoxia. Hypo meaning low, oxia meaning oxygen. If you have too many red blood cells, your blood can become thick. Oh, or viscous. Now, your body makes about 2 million red blood cells per second. Wow. What a rate. What a factory. But that also means about 2 million blood cells per second are kicking the bucket because there's a balance between production and destruction. Okay. Hormonal controls will play a part in production and destruction. So will your diet, especially making sure you get enough iron in your diet. Okay. All right. Erythropoiesis, the making of red blood cells. Let's keep going. Now, here's a good example of homeostasis, right? If you're at normal blood oxygen levels, that's good. But imagine something comes along, we start here, and all of a sudden you have inadequate oxygen delivery due to perhaps a low red blood cell count, maybe a decreased amount of hemoglobin, maybe a decreased amount of oxygen. Quick question for the chat. We'll do just a 5-second delay. We'll just do a 5-second delay. What are some things that can happen in our lives that could cause a decrease in blood cells or a decrease in oxygen or a decrease in hemoglobin? What are some things that happen to us in our lives that might cause this? 5-second delay. Okay, go. What are some of these imbalances? Iron deficiency? Sure. What else? High altitudes. Way to go, Sam. Infection, disease. Disease, sure. Very good, everybody. I like that. I think your textbook mentions some examples, right? When you go to high elevation, right, you're going to lose oxygen. I think the book even mentions blood loss from example, like getting stabbed. Oh my God. But it's true. Imagine if you get stabbed and blood just starts leaving your body. Well, guess what, right? All these go down. Okay. You'd be dead. So there's an imbalance. Homeostasis gets messed up. The kidney responds. Your kidneys secrete a hormone. Ooh. Red blood cells ramped up in the femur. We crank out some more red blood cells and we return to balance. A perfect example of homeostasis. Oh, Sam, yes, it could. Yes, it could. Absolutely, Sam. Absolutely. We're going to talk about it. How long can a red blood cell live in your body? Between 100 and 120 days. Why so short? Question for the chat. How about 15-second delay? Why is the lifespan, why do you think the lifespan of a red blood cell is so short? 15-second delay. Okay, go. Why is it so short? Non-stop working. Oh, way to go, Ethan. Way to go, Tony. Way to go, Veronica. Way to go, Larry. Yeah. Think about it. It's got nothing to keep it going. It's got nothing to sustain it, right? No mitochondria, no ribosomes, no nucleus, nothing. It's just an empty bus, right? Carrying around blood. That's it. It barely even has an engine. Okay, so they have no nucleus. Red blood cells, towards the end of their lifespan, they become fragile. Ooh, there's no repair, right? There's no repair going on. Their hemoglobin begins to break down. No, hemoglobin, come back. And as they become fragile and old, oh my God, this is so sad. Poor RBCs, they can get trapped. They especially get trapped in the spleen. Oh, it's kind of where they go to die. Okay. So what happens to these old red blood cells? They get gulped up and broken down and recycled, okay? Macrophages will eat them up, especially in the spleen, and they will start to recycle some of the components of blood, okay? Quick check-in. Let's do a 10-second delay. I know I'm going fast because we have another lecture to do. Oxygen binds to what portion of hemoglobin? 10-second delay. Go. C. Very good, everybody. C, 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 C. Yes, C, C, C. I know I did that kind of fast, but let's talk about it again. Yes, yes, yes. Oxygen sticks to the heme disc of hemoglobin. It's red because it's made up of iron. This is why iron is so important in your diet. This is why iron is so important in your diet. If you don't have iron, your hemoglobin is not complete. If your hemoglobin is not complete, you can't carry as much oxygen in your blood. Oh. So, what was 3? What do you mean 3? What was 3? Anemia sucks. Yeah, on last slide. Oh, let me go back. 3, Christian, was when red blood cells get to the end of their days, when they get old, they can become trapped, okay, because they're fragile. They get stuck. Okay? Christian says, thanks, I'm moving on. Oh, 0-second delay. Go. Way to go, Kimbo. Way to go, Christian. Hey, Christian. Way to go, Haley. Way to go, Marlene. Way to go, Larry. Way to go, Tony. Way to go, Denzel. I'm looking for Janiza. Where's Janiza? I'm looking for, who else am I looking for? Where's Christina? Where's both of my Christinas? Oh my God. Where's Jacob? Oh my God. Where's Cynthia? I said lol. Oh, okay. Where's Paul? Where's Simran? Oh my God. Where's Jessica? I'm calling out. Where's Don? All these questions I have. Okay, you can do this one on your own. I got to move on. Good practice. Good. Do that one for practice. This one too. Oh, look, Professor Madden put tons of practice questions in this presentation. You could do it. You could do it. I got to move on. All right, look, we're done with 2. Plasma, check. Erythrocytes, check. Buffy coat. I always find that to be such a weird name. The Buffy coat. Isn't that a weird name? It reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which, by the way, I never saw that movie. I never saw that TV show. I don't know how it is, but it's very much like I don't know, it's like a Valley Girl name, right? A Valley Girl name? Buffy? It was okay, cult classic. All right. I don't know. I can't say shit about it. I'm willing to bet if I saw it, if I saw that movie, it would probably make the hateration list. I'm just, if I had to gamble, if I had to put money on it, it probably sucks, but let's keep going. I don't know. I don't care. The Buffy coat. You'd hate it for sure. Leukocytes. Leukocytes is a fancy word for white blood cells. And remember, the white blood cells are the only complete cell, meaning they have all their organelles. They have a little bit more of the functionality that red blood cells don't have. Very good. Okay. They don't make up a great amount of your blood, less than 1%. Look, it's the thinnest layer in our centrifuge sample. It's the thinnest layer of our centrifuge sample. Here's what a normal white blood cell count should look like. Here's a question for the chat. Some of us have clinical experience. So what happens if you are examining blood and you have a leukocyte count, a white blood cell count of like 11,500? Whoops, too many zeros. What is that a warning of? Infection, says Tony. Yeah. Way to go, Alex. Yeah. That means your body is gearing up for a fight with all these white blood cells. Okay? I probably just ruined my slide, but who cares? Now, white blood cells are fucking awesome, right? White blood cells can migrate. They can exit your capillaries and go fight invaders by kind of crawling around in your body. Diapedesis. Okay? They can detect chemicals of the invaders in your body and crawl over to them. Wow. And I have videos of this, but we have to watch them maybe in lab or on your own, okay? So there's your leukocytosis. I ruined my slide. All right. There you go. Good slide. There's a lot of info on this slide. A lot of info on this slide about white blood cells. Okay, quick time check. Oof, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Let's keep going. Leukocytes. All right. Eek. I'm gonna go through this fast. The more we run out of time, I'm gonna have to speed through some stuff. Two main categories of leukocytes. One where the nucleus looks grainy, called granulocytes, and one where the nucleus looks kind of smooth, agranulocytes. All right. Each of these has something special about them. Each of these types of white blood cells has something special about them. So let's summarize that special feature. All right. Here we go. White blood cells, yeah, okay. Larger and shorter-lived. They're shorter-lived. They're even shorter-lived than red blood cells because they fight and they die on the battlefield. That is your body, okay? All of them can eat cells. All of your white blood cells can eat other cells. They can eat other cells. They can gobble them up. Okay? So what's so special about neutrophils? Well, let's take a look. They're the most abundant. They specialize in killing bacteria. Okay, there's neutrophils. Like I said, we're just going to look at like one quick thing that's special about each. So neutrophils, there's a lot of them, and they kill bacteria. They like to kill bacteria. This is a tough word. Eosinophils. Eosinophils. What do they specialize in? I can't believe this. I can't believe this is a thing in our body. We have white blood cells that are specialized in fighting large parasitic worms. Oh my God. Oh, we got to chat about anime. Okay, look at this. Holy cow. Eosinophils also play a role in allergies and asthma. What's so special about basophils? Oh, we got to chat about anime. Focus, everybody. Focus, focus, focus. What's so special about these basophils? What do they fight? They're very rare, and they contribute to our sort of allergic reaction whenever we have histamines released in our body, which can very quickly and sometimes violently cause our blood vessels to constrict, to dilate, to open up and like, right? Okay, so sometimes when we want to prevent our blood vessels from opening up, we'll take antihistamines to fight off that reaction, to sort of bring it under control. Okay, so neutrophils, special category, specialty. Eosinophils, their specialty. Basophils, their specialty. Let's keep going. If you want to watch a neutrophil, this is a great video. If you want to watch a neutrophil, quote unquote, crawl over to a bacteria and gobble it up, oh my God, click on these links. It's fascinating. It is fascinating to watch your white blood cells on the attack. What does Veronica say here? Super cool, almost alien. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I can't do it because poor Toshiba is going to crash. So click on these and watch your white blood cells go to work. Lymphocytes, second most numerous after neutrophils, found in lymphoid tissue. Huh? What? We will get to it. Put it in your pocket when we do the lymphatic system next week. crucial to immunity, the immune response, forming these cells. Okay, T cells and B cells. Okay, lymphocytes. So when I think of lymphocytes, I think of the immune response. Okay, I don't think of these big instant bacteria or worm eaters, right? I think of the T cells, I think of B cells, I think of how lymphocytes specialize and respond in an immune response situation. Monocytes, they're big, and these guys are what crawl out of the circulatory system and gobble up viruses, parasites. Okay, very good, very good. Big eaters, big eaters. Okay. I know I'm going fast, everybody, because I keep looking at the clock, and it's 5:40, and we have another lecture to get through. Okay, so you can look at these slides later. We know that leukocytes make up less than 1% of blood. They're a tiny fraction, but then within that tiny fraction, there's different abundances, right? Neutrophils are number 1. Lymphocytes are number 2. So it's just an abundance chart. This is just an abundance chart. That's it. How are white blood cells formed? They're made also in the red bone marrow. Granulocytes, ooh, most of their life is spent in the bone marrow, highly present in the bone marrow. Okay. White blood cells are cranked out way more than red blood cells. Because remember, these guys are busy dying on the battlefield of your body. So they live short lives, short but glorious. Agranulocytes, they can live for several months. They can wait it out until they reach maturity. They can wait it out until they reach maturity in the bone marrow. Okay, so their lifespans can be very different, a few hours to even decades. Wow. Boy, those immune response cells, whew, they're in it for the long haul. Okay. Oh, my God, we still have platelets to talk about. We still have platelets to talk about. Okay, let's keep going. All right. Do this practice, do this practice, do this practice. When you study your lectures, I got to move on. Practice, 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 practice. Platelets. Platelets. Platelets are chunks of larger cells. I'm going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at this in a cartoon in a second, a cartoon that I love. Okay. Platelets are involved in blood clotting. They create like a little traffic jam. Right? They're very much physically blocking blood from leaving your body. They form plugs. Okay? They form plugs and they seal wounds, right? They seal off wounds. They have to become mobilized. They have to become activated by nitric oxide. When you have a wound in your body, okay, your body will release histamines, your body will release nitric oxide and trigger the activity and the movement of platelets. The platelets otherwise are just kind of floating around in your body doing nothing, but they can become activated. Okay, so we'll leave that up. All right, we're going to take a look at that cartoon in just a second. The formation of platelets, that's coming next. Formation of platelets coming up next. Here we go. So you get that same stem cell. Remember, this is the origin story of all these cells. Okay? But the cell starts growing and growing and growing. This is what I find fascinating. When this stem cell chooses the mega karyocyte as its destiny, it undergoes mitosis, but doesn't pinch apart. So imagine it grows and it grows and it grows, but it never divides. So you get this mega karyocyte, a mega cell that's not splitting itself apart. Whoa. But eventually it will break off chunks, like shrapnel. And the shrapnel that it sends into your bloodstream is called platelets. These little chunks of shrapnel are what help form blood clots. There you go. There you go. Platelets live very short lives because, again, they're fragments of cells. Platelets are not cells. Platelets are chunks of a bigger cell. That's what platelets are. Okay, let's keep going. I gotta go fast, everybody. And here is a table summarizing all of the different types of cells that live in your blood. One-stop shop, check it out. Red blood cell, all the categories of the white blood cells, and platelets. One-stop shop, there you go. Homeostasis moment. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Homeostasis moment. It's 5:45, let's go fast. Does anybody recognize this lady? Who's this lady? Let me know in the chat. I know we're going fast, but let's have some fun. Oprah. It's Oprah. Oh, Veronica knows what's coming up. It's Oprah, the queen of the world. Yeah. Okay. Now, you get a cell. And you get a cell, and you get a cell, and you get a platelet. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Oh, Misty. 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 Yep, Veronica. What did this guy admit to Oprah? Cheater! Right? Yeah. So this goes back to, I forget who asked this question earlier in the chat. It was his own blood. It was still illegal. Not steroids, Christina. You know what he was doing? He was injecting himself with artificial EPO. Erythropoietin is that hormone. Okay. It's a hormone made by your kidney that increases your red blood cell production. Blood dumping, yeah. All right. So all of a sudden, you can artificially inflate your body's ability to carry oxygen so you don't get tired as easily. You seemingly have an endless supply of oxygen. You can have incredible stamina. Sounds like something that would be really helpful for really long bike rides, right? Imagine never getting tired. Huh. But what are the risks? What are the risks? What are the risks? Yep. You're going to boost your, oh, where can I get some? Jeremy, I don't know, but we'll talk about it. You're going to increase your red blood cell count, but it's going to make your, it's going to cause you to be dehydrated, and your blood can become thick, decreasing its flow capabilities. Your blood can more easily clot. You might be at risk of a stroke. So yeah, you don't want super thick, Slow blood. Got to be careful when you take this stuff. You got to be careful when you take this stuff. Another way people do this is they do what's called blood packing, where they remove a ton of their own blood, put it in a freezer, and then re-inject it later on to artificially boost their blood. Oh my God, it's incredible. Yes, Janiza. Yes. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. If anybody's interested in this, hold on. What's the name of the documentary movie? I recommend an excellent documentary about our friend Lance. And it was called, what is it called? Oh my God. It was something like Anything to Win or something like that. I'll look it up. We'll look it up during the break. All right. But there's a very damning documentary about this guy because, yeah, he is a huge liar and a huge cheater. There's no doubt. Stop at Nothing. Thank you, Veronica. If you're interested, watch the movie. It's called Stop at Nothing. You will be shocked. Okay. You want to know why this guy is also such a huge liar and cheater? He denied it for over a decade. He was such a liar. Over and over and over again, he was asked, are you doing something? Are you doing something? Are you doing something? What a liar, right? And he raised all that money and he fucking treated people like shit the whole way through. Yep, I know, Abby. So heroes fall hard. Okay, yeah, but he's still rich as hell. He's still rich as hell. Liar, yes. Cheating? Yeah, he cheated. Of course he cheated. Of course he cheated. That's why they took away his titles. That's cheating. All right. There you go. Also, I don't mean to diminish this one, but another homeostasis moment, sickle cell anemia. Read about it in the lecture. We know how crucial red blood cell shape is to their function. Imagine if their shape gets really messed up. Wow. Sickle cell anemia in the African American community. It's a thing. It's serious. It's serious. And I'm sorry we've run out of time, but we have this slide here to study. Got a good YouTube video to watch. Okay, Gabriel, we understand, man. Watch the recording, all right? All right, and that's the end of this lecture. Whew! Believe it or not, it's 5:50. We're going to try to power through another lecture. Let's take a 5-minute break, everybody. 5-minute break. We'll be back to record one last lecture. See you soon.